The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy podcast, your source for nerddom news and commentary. I am your host and superior webhead master, Jarod Buckman Stubbs, and joining me, as always, is your resident Green Lantern Professor, Travis Grossman.
You came up on the screen, and I got very confused. I'm like, why am I not up on the... Is my camera off? Is something wrong? I just forgot how this worked for a minute. This doesn't have caffeine. I wish it did.
You're just drinking bubbles, buddy. You need that calf. You need the calf.
I don't have any in the house.
I'm so sorry, babe. Back to TV talk. We're going to be talking What If. We're going to be talking Titans. And first, before we do any of that, really, first of all, go check out this week's episode of this most recent episode of Knights of the Nerd Republic. If you're not caught up on Bad Batch, you can kind of turn it off about 20 minutes in. But we had, as you know, Travis and Alexis did as well, got to meet Mr. Jim Cummings in terms of Star Wars relation, Hondo Ohnaka, as you saw there. Got a fun little new intro from him. Then we had a little bit of the show went off the rails in the first 20 minutes, and we were just kind of having fun, and then we got into the Bad Batch talk. So highly recommend this week's Knights of the Nerd Republic. So pop on over to that one. But in the meantime, Travis, I have a hypothetical for you.
Yeah, okay.
And we're going to see. You do this bit so much better than Spencer. Spencer bungled it within seconds when I tried to do it with him. And, you know, this is why you're the best co-host. Let's say there is a pandemic.
Yes.
Cripples the nation and the planet for almost 2 years now. We're going on, you know, we're a year and a half deep.
That seems like a long time, but go on.
It's been a very long time. It's almost like getting all of the world to agree on basic science is nigh impossible because half of the planet politically, their stance is to just say no you about any and all scientific information. But let's say that in a miracle, that in a scientific miracle, a vaccine is developed within the year. And a lot of people get vaccinated, but not enough. So let's say that there is a situation where a variant of it, you can assign whatever Greek alphabet letter you want to. Delta. Let's go with Delta.
Why not Omicron? That's the funniest one, and no one ever.
It's the coolest one. The one that the COVID variant that will like kill you instantly gets Omicron because that's the scariest and coolest sounding one. But let's say this Delta variant is ravaging unvaccinated people, and just as movies and Hollywood were getting bold again. Now they're getting cold feet and movies are getting delayed. How do you think that would affect Venom, Let There Be Carnage?
My response would be, oh my god, Venom is getting a sequel. That's right.
All right. Venom,
The pandemic should not be. The pandemic should not be affecting this movie because this movie shouldn't be this movie. Go on.
Travis in the morning is the most fun. Venom Let There Be Carnage has been delayed yet again. It was set for September 24th this year, and has now been moved to October 15th. Yeah, this is unsurprising. Does not bode well for other movies. Shang-Chi is just around the corner. They are sticking to their guns on a theatrical release. God bless them. Kind of scares me. There's, another quick story we can talk about is the slow death that Suicide Squad is suffering at the box office. I sent in that screenshot into the chat on Saturday that I saw that it's going to be leaving the theater circuit very soon, because this past weekend it made $7 million. And again, you have the expected hurdles for a movie like The Suicide Squad, that R rating, that can be troublesome. And there's truth to that. However, there's that's bad. That's really bad. And I don't know if that's a brand thing that Warner Brothers has managed to fall into. We talked about this on the review, Devin and I, the quote unquote Tomb Raider trap, where you release a shit movie, it makes hella money, and then you release its sequel, which is actually really good, but it bombs at the box office. Maybe it's Tomb Raider trap mixed with our rating, mixed with COVID, mixed with bad marketing, mixed with people who are once bitten, twice shy with Suicide Squad. It is regrettable. It is not a good look, and I am very scared for Shang-Chi. I'm very scared that Marvel is going to learn. I mean, I always get scared the studios are going to learn the wrong lessons from this sort of thing. That when something bombs, they don't attribute it to the other reasons it could have bombed, like Solo. Lucasfilm and Disney went, okay, no more Star Wars anthology movies. When it was like, no, you sent this movie to compete against Avengers, Deadpool, and The Incredibles. Like you cannibalized this movie up against all of your own properties, and it had Solo come out in its normal December release date. Its only real competition would have been Aquaman. Stuff like that.
No Drumming Octopus, not even close to the same caliber of movie.
You might be right. Solo could probably would have gotten a run for its money with Aquaman, but but what did they take from that? Not that they released it at a dog shit time, that people don't want anthology movies. And that's not true. Now, granted, we're getting a lot of those anthology movies as TV shows, Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, but there's still some stuff I would like to see as movies. There's some stories I would like to see as a movie. And just the Star Wars story brand is seemingly kaput now. What I am concerned about is that the weird, very comic booky direction the MCU is taking right now, where, like we had this conversation before, it feels like that, because it's true, we're in the wake of a big event just finishing, so the status quo is all up in the air. Like Loki's a good guy now and a time traveler, and Sam Wilson is the current Captain America. There is no Iron Man. Spider-Man's been framed. Like there's all of these things, and it feels like just you're in the wake of Secret Wars or something, right? I'm afraid that there might be a lot of thump to the chest returns to normal if Shang-Chi doesn't perform. Now, granted, a lot of these stories are in the can, but that's not to say that you can't muck with them after the fact. As we saw with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that show suffered because they tried to mess with it in post, and But yeah, I've been talking for a minute. I'm afraid for Shang-Chi. I'm more afraid for Shang-Chi than I am for any of the other movies. That's assuming the Eternals comes out this year at all. Same with No Way Home. Like, I'm going to be stunned if neither of those get delayed. Like, at this point, I'm not. I'm putting my excitement on a shelf for both of those because I don't feel confident that I will be seeing them in the year of our Lord 2021.
Yeah. I'm surprised it took this long for movies to start getting delayed again, honestly. Um, and I don't know if we talked about it, and I don't remember. There was an episode I wasn't on um, talking about the Scarlett Johansson lawsuit
Yeah,
with Disney currently. Um, Kind of mucks up the whole dual release shenanigans that was going on, right?
yeah. Well, now they're pinned into a corner, and they can't get away with it unless they go back and start like renegotiating contracts with a lot of people, which could result in you hemorrhaging stars, right? And Disney loves being event cinema, and I think it's really interesting the way that Disney feels like they can make more money out of being at the theater instead of like bringing it directly to themselves through Disney Plus. Obviously, again, there's the issue of negotiating contracts and stuff like renegotiating contracts in a post, ScarJo filing suit. And again, there's a very big, the outcome of that will change how movies are produced for a very long time. But yeah, and that's all we have for news, unless you have further comment on that matter, Travis.
I'm just glad I don't have to see Venom such and such anytime soon.
Yeah, you have a little bit longer of a reprieve from Venom 1 and 2 because you will be watching one. Which one do you want to tackle first? What If or Titans?
Let's tackle What If because it's short and sweet and good and just it's Marvel TV. It's good stuff.
I enjoyed it. It like I'm glad we got an episode like
one of the marquee ones, right? Like we pretty much saw this entire episode in trailers.
Yeah, with the exception of Cthulhu at the end, which I think it was like Icelius or like I feel like that was either supposed to be the like Hydra creature come to life or Cthulhu. I can't remember which. I said Cthulhu as a joke, but like the Marvel Cthulhu. I'm going to Google that. I can't remember the name of the Hydra beast. But yeah, no, you're right. This episode did a really good job at setting the tone. Because like I was very curious as to what this show was going to feel like. Like, are we going to go through like a full chain of events, or is this just going to be like we're going to take this one story, this one movie, and abbreviate it with the highlights of what it would look like if such and such characters were swapped? Pardon my hiccups. Swapped out. How do you feel about the animation style?
I like it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think it's good. I think it's crisp. I think it's a neat interpretation of these characters. As Lexi and I were watching it, we came to the consensus that it looks a lot like a modernized Iron Giant.
Yeah, I see that. I actually really see that. That makes sense.
And specifically in this episode, Steve looks like the kid from Iron Giant.
That's funny. I'm trying to find. I can't remember how to say the name of the creature with the weird. Like it's Hive, but when Ward and Agents of Shield like kind of turns into Kit Fisto. Anyway, I can't tell if they're trying to go for that creature, Cthulhu, or just like a Cthulhu ripoff. No, I agree with you. It does very Iron Giant. It doesn't help that Steve is in the Antifa Iron Giant. I've seen a lot of jokes about Sebastian Stan's acting in this. Not that it was necessarily bad, but that the boy did there was a little overacting, and it's like, "Yo, Steve!" like kind of thing.
There were lines where it was hard to tell it was him.
Yeah. Meanwhile, really good voice double for Chris Evans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I liked the action. I really liked just seeing Peggy do things with that shield that you could only do in a cartoon, because in live action, like, you liquefied that guy.
There were a lot of like very smooth single take, I put that in air quotes, action scenes with Peggy.
Yeah.
They were really, really good.
You know what I'm surprised worked for me? The guy getting kicked in the nuts gag. Because there's one Hydra agent who, like, I think it's the guy who kind of tries to do like the Indiana Jones, like he takes off the hat and he's like, "All right, come on,"
Oh, little Fräulein.
Yeah, little Fräulein.
She doesn't punch him in the nuts.
She doesn't. I thought she kicks him in the nuts and then
no, she inverts his knee. Like,
oh my god!
She goes down, punches, and his knee, like, I can't do it because my knee doesn't bend that way, but his knee just.
I thought, okay,
no,
I thought she punched him in the dick and then like came up and like got him in the gut.
Nope, that his knee bends the other way now.
And then she punched him in the stomach. Wow. Still, the noise the guy makes, on paper, I was like, I feel like this is too much, but I like it.
Well, that's the entire sequence we're watching. I'm like, that guy's dead, that guy's dead, that guy's super dead. She is killing with reckless abandon, and it's only acceptable because these are Nazis, but still really funny.
The live action version of the way that she threw the shield vertically and did one of these, and it's like that, the fact that guy's head is not in two halves, which, like, granted, kids need to be able to watch all of the most of the Marvel stuff anyway. It's like, I'm not critiquing it. Like, the live action movies, Steve's shield is a blunt force weapon that we pretend is not like cutting people in half when he throws it, except for when he throws it at robots or aliens, and it definitely cuts them in half on impact. Which, that's not a bad thing. Like, it's comic booky, it's movies that should be for kids. I really dug it. I know a lot of people have been talking about the way that, like, all of these are going to hurdle into each other. It seems like especially from the one trailer where they're recreating the shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
With like the circle of everyone back to back to back to back to back to back. And I'm interested in that. It looks like the next one up is going to be T'Challa Star-Lord.
Ooh.
So excited for that one. But yeah, I really did enjoy it. And I really liked the way they did the end. I really liked it being the Tesseract experiment opening a portal and spinning her out. And I liked her version of the I had a date ending from First Avenger. All in all, it was really good. It was really fun. I hope Peggy keeps that sword. I just think it's a cool look. I mean, I will say this is a nitpick. Please just call her Captain Britain. I get Captain Carter. Like, I get why they do it that way, but like, just let her be Captain Britain. Just use the actual name. She's wearing the suit. I also think that there's a not zero chance we see Haley Atwell wearing this suit in live action.
Yeah.
With all the multiversal nonsense going on right now, I will not be surprised if, some type of gobbledygook leads to Peggy Carter showing up from another dimension.
Especially with Tom Hiddleston, I think, saying that this show would have ramifications because of Loki.
Yeah, and that's another thing is that, like, when you consider the order of which you were originally supposed to get a lot of this stuff, and again, Loki changed a lot from pre-production to production to when we saw it, and in my opinion, for the better. And since we're going all the way in on a lot of this multiverse stuff, I really like What If coming out here, because it feels, how do I put it? There's something really fun about the way that the moment that the sacred timeline unfurls into unbridled chaos, it immediately being followed by, let's look at some of the chaos for a minute. We have time till the next movie or TV show. Let's just play around and see what changed. That excited me. Like, I really like this placement because it feels almost like, it almost feels like a companion piece to Loki. And I really, really like that. I think that's kind of like its strongest element, is the way that it feels like it's, I don't mean tacked on in a pejorative sense, but like, it's like, okay, and here's this fun little chaser.
Like these scenarios could have been things we saw as like little spoofs in Loki of like timelines we see them pruning, where it's Captain Carter, or like if they'd been able to get
T'Challa Lord.
Yeah, like all of these actors in live action to be like, oh, here's small Steve in an Iron Man suit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, really, really, really enjoyed What If so far. And like, it didn't knock my socks off, but I was like, this is fun. This is neat. I look forward to seeing where this is going. Yeah. All right. We held it off for as long as we could.
Yeah.
So
we did.
Before we talk about any of season 3,
you started season 1.
I started season 1, and I kept talking about like, oh, I'm going to start it. And I realized I may be better off trying to start it at the last minute, so that like everything is fresh. Like, I'm going in fully loaded. Boom, hit me with season 3. I'm ready. It was nearly, I got halfway through season 1 and was like prepared to just make a concession to Travis on air and be like, I can't do it. You're stronger than me.
It's a bad life.
Like, I was like,
life.
I was about, again, I'm going to make it about my boy right here. It was about to be that ending of Superior Spider-Man where Otto's just like, I can't do it. It's all you. It's all you. I can't. I'm taking my hands off the wheel. I'm giving it back to you. Halfway through season 1, was talking to Travis and Lexi at Steel City Con, and Travis gave me the out I was hoping I would hear, where he was like, just watch season 3. Like, you can just jump right into it. I also had the benefit of having had both the seasons explained to me.
Mm-hmm.
And retaining some of that, and also like watching Titans the Story so far on YouTube before watching season 3, or what we have of it so far, at least. Season 1's abysmal. That was it was really bad. There's just a lot of decisions that I just don't understand the point behind.
Like making the show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole grim dark, like everything has to be dreary and depressing is just so draining. And
I had 2 revelations about this show. One of them about a month ago, and one of them literally last night. You once said on I don't know if it was live on the show or if it was like right before we got started. We were talking about Loki, I think, and you said, all of these movies and shows are cash grabs. It's just whether or not we want them to, like, the studio wants them to be serviceable. This is clearly like the cash grab. DC didn't care if it was serviceable or not.
yeah, and the thing that's so weird about it is how it started. It started on DC Universe. It started as a project that was so incredibly geared towards fans of the source material that its departures and its like cardinal sins of badness make it even more unacceptable in a way. Because like it's directed right at the fans, so you can embrace whatever goofy bullshit you want to. Have Robin wear goddamn booty shorts if you want to at that point. Like people are going to accept it because they're paying for the comic book streaming service subscription. So the reason why we go into this this tone that like really feels the tone of Titans feels like Zack Snyder is trying to do Nolan.
I disagree. Well, maybe for season 1, but that was the other thought. I think Titans feels like Zack Snyder trying to do Joel Schumacher. Especially like I said, I've only seen 301. I have not watched.
Shit! Holy shit! That's so good.
I've only seen the first episode of season 3, but like season 2 on feels like Zack Snyder's trying to direct the Batman and Robin. Like, it's goofy but grim, and everyone keeps saying the F word because for some reason people think that makes your story much. Why? Why do you think, as someone who uses that word a lot, the two of us, that doesn't make your story good? It doesn't make your like R rating worth it.
Yeah.
It baffles me.
Well, especially because it feels like someone like in the writer's room went, and then they say the F word. Like they get excited to put it into the script. That's sad. Like I said, I got halfway through season 1. Eventually I will completionist this. But oh man. Jumping from season 1, like the midway point of season 1 to the first 3 episodes of Titan season 3, it was a really big improvement. Like it got a lot better, and I was actually enjoying myself. And the comparison I made to Travis was that more so than the CW, like when I said this is superhero trash TV, and beyond the CW, I'm talking like You and 13 Reasons Why, like that kind of trash TV where it's like just the premise on its face is slightly problematic in the way that it's framed, and people don't actually talk like this, and the story's getting weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder by the second. But you have decent actors, and you have my attention. Like this is trash, but I'm enjoying my trash. And Titan season 3 very much is getting, out of me at least, I'm enjoying my trash. Like I can enjoy this as superhero trash TV. That is the level of which I am able to engage with this. There were lines of dialogue that I bursted out laughing very loudly, and I wish and from now on I take notes while I watch Titans, because it's too much to just try to do from memory. I can't critique the show from memory like I can with other shows, because Titans is just so dense.
There's so much.
There's
I
so
had to
much.
pause it 8 times.
There's so much.
It's so bad. It's so, and it's following in tradition a little bit that the first episode of the season rewrites or overwrites everything that's come before it. The word Titan is never used once in season 1.
Yeah.
Not a single person says it. Not a single person mentions the Titans used to exist. They never refer to themselves as the Titans. No one, not a single person, I don't even think, not in reference to the Titans, says the word Titan. Immediately, I think that word gets used up above 15 times in the opener for season 2. Titans, 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 Titans. Almost like they realized what they did.
Somebody with the editing prowess to do a supercut of every time somebody says the word Titan. Titans.
It's suddenly at the beginning of season 2, this isn't really spoilers, Corey knows that Donna was a Titan and left, and is mocking her for the fact that she quit, and specifically saying she used to be a Titan. And it's this never came up. You never talked about this, and no time has passed where you could have talked about this. So where did this come from? In the same way, if we're going to get into it, I guess, when did Alfred die?
So, okay. Here's the weird thing.
You watched all 3 of them, right?
I am completely caught up.
Can I ask you a question? And if this is a spoiler, I don't care. Guys, you're getting spoilers. You've been
around long enough to know that TV talk is spoiler talk.
And you've been around long enough to know that I hate this show. Is this another fever dream?
What element?
All of it.
None of it.
In the plot.
None of it.
It's all.
No one has woken up from a cold sleep. It is all happening.
Okay.
So
not only.
What I love, real quick, is the way that the universe wanted to make sure, again, it's like the movie Signs, everything happens for a reason. My body gave out on Titan season 1 just in time for me to see the most important scene to help you with this little conundrum. Yes, Dick calls Alfred, addresses him by name, has a conversation with him. And then comes season 3, which is taking place in, I think, either the end of 2020 or 2021, because they say whenever they buried Alfred, it says 2020, I think. No, I'm lying. Jason's headset says 2020. I didn't catch Alfred's. I'm lying. I'm crossing the streams. So, in between season 1 and season 3, Alfred has died. But also, they had enough of the funeral that they had. Dick was there, even though it's implied this is his first time back in Gotham since he quit being Robin.
You know what I think happened?
Barbara's there, but did they mention Jason being present at the funeral?
Yes, they do. And
did you say Jason was there? Okay, that was the other continuity.
So
I was
this is
curious about that.
they mentioned Jason being at the funeral, except she also says he picked up Jason a week after Dick left, and Dick didn't know about Jason till he met him.
Yeah.
And it couldn't have been between seasons 2 and 3 because they mention like Dick says, I haven't seen him in 3 months. And that's probably how long it's been since the end of season 2. What I think
best
they
guesstimate is between season 1 and 2, Alfred passes.
it has to be during season 2. Like sometime during the events, because between seasons 1 and 2 is like it picks up at a direct moment.
Oh, that's right. You did tell me they kind of like Last Jedi it. Okay, yeah.
Well, because they cut the finale off of season 1 and stitched it as the opener for season 2. But that has to be when it happens, and like it just doesn't make any sense. Like my brain keeps rattling like a piece is missing, trying to form my thoughts. I think what they did is they looked back over their plot and remembered that in 111, the end of season 1, they talk about Alfred being dead because it's the fever dream episode. It's where Dick is in the fever dream, and in that fever dream, Jason's been crippled, Alfred is dead, and Bruce becomes unhinged. I think Gordon might have also died in that fever dream. Which is why watching it, I was like, this has to be another nightmare sequence. Like, it has to be a fever dream because Alfred shouldn't be dead. Jim doesn't. I don't remember. Like, I can have less agency with Gordon, right? I don't know if he's supposed to be dead in this universe or not.
Well, whenever they announced that we were going to meet Barbara Gordon and they were talking about how like she's the GCPD commissioner, I was like, okay, this is Batman Beyond. Gordon's dead. Like,
yeah,
like Jim is dead. Like, there's no way that they're doing Barbara's the commish.
Yeah,
and Jim is still breathing.
And like that one's passable because we never speak to Jim Gordon before this.
Yeah. They do say how he dies, though.
Yeah, Mr. Freeze. I know who he is.
All of the episodes like melted into one for me because I literally went boom, 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 boom yesterday.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what all you've seen because for me it just felt like a movie because I watched all 3 in quick succession.
That sequence of dialogue, I had to pause and rewind several times. Because it was it's the pinnacle of saying fuck doesn't make your dialogue good. And I was laughing and
saying fuck doesn't make your dialogue good. And also like, this is giving me like such BVS and Suicide Squad vibes of like, you have a good idea. And these are one of those moments where like screenplay by and story by make a big difference sometimes because you can be like, and this is the story we're going to tell. Like with season 1, I kept getting like part of the reason I kept getting angry about where I was like, just the bones of this, of like, the Titans are forming, and this is how, because, Rachel's being chased by this like Trigon worshipping cult, and Dick has had his falling out with Batman, and, Starfire doesn't have her memories, and Gar kind of gets tacked onto the group. Like that on paper.
Go ahead. I just remembered something. Go ahead.
That getting like that, the bones of that could be good.
I disagree, but we can agree to disagree on that. I think any story you have of a group forming, right? Like, we would never get a series about the Justice League forming. We got a series where the opening episode was the Justice League forming. We got a movie in a span of 23 for 85 movies. One movie of the Avengers forming. It's not, and like, we got stories before that in that universe, but they were all solo movies. No one interacted with each other. And then all of a sudden, they meet. We have a group now. Like, events need to happen for them to meet and become one. If it takes longer in your show than an episode, maybe two, depending on how long your show is, you are wasting time.
I don't have an example to give you off the top of my head to prove you wrong. But
I'm sure I could be. But like, I don't think in terms of when you're adapting comic book material, not even directly, just like on the basis of we're adapting this comic book group of superheroes. At least to me, when the point of the show is supposed to be that I'm watching this group called the Titans, and they are only on screen together a total, like, I could count on one hand the number of times in your entire first season. That's a problem. To me, that's a problem.
I hear you. And again, that's what I'm saying is like, it's all in the execution here that damns this show. Is that I really think in the hands of, with better direction and a better, like, out the gate season that isn't, and like what you said with like seasons 2 and 3, from what we've seen of 3, Snyder doing Schumacher, I think, is a great way to put it. Season 1 absolutely feels like Snyder trying to do Nolan, and just because it's just so grimdark, and it's like grimdark, like it's like grimdark bullshit, but like Snyder's grimdark bullshit doesn't try to like obfuscate the concept of superpowers. It's like, yeah, people have superpowers, but also this world just sucks to be in. So like it's melding Zack Snyder's enjoyment of like, yeah, it sucks, but look how cool the powers are, and Nolan's like, it's all grounded, real, and gritty, and it's like sandwiching the worst elements of both of those styles. And that's where season 1 falls the fuck apart for me. And I can't get through it. 3 is like goofy and silly enough that like it keeps my attention. As a fan of superhero comics, it keeps my attention. And I think that there is a decent tone that can be struck here with more competent leadership at the helm. And I think on paper, like in concept, season 1 could work. Like, I love stories about weird ass cults, and the fact that like it feels like we're pulling teeth with season 1 is just such a sign of failure. Season 2, I felt like I was having a fucking fever dream listening to you explain it.
Because nothing happens. It's the Scarlet Letter.
I don't know if it was on this show or Hall of Heroes by the time season 2 was happening.
Hall of Heroes.
That was Hall of Heroes? Okay.
Yeah. I went back and listened to my finale review of season 2 and my review of season 1. And at the end of both, without commenting, you said I needed a veterans discount.
Which I think is hilarious, because I 10 out of 10 didn't remember the fact that I said that before.
It's clear that you didn't. You were like, oh my God. Because doing the season 2 one, I start making jokes, and by the end, I'm like half screaming because I'm so angry. Thing I thought was funny bad. Why is Beast Boy doing karate? Why in our
yelped.
opening action sequence
I
is
yelped.
Beast Boy not a tiger? Like, at the very least, make him the animal he's supposed. I know he becomes it, but why is he not just becoming animals? I think they're finally gonna let him this season.
Yeah, because he talks about it to himself that he wants to learn how to do it.
No, yeah, he's
I
also
wanna tell
clinically insane. He's clinically insane.
I also just need to say, and maybe I have bad listening skills. I thought for the longest time when you talked about they only let Beast Boy turn into a tiger, that they were like weirdly only ever letting it be a tiger. I didn't realize it was a plot point.
Yeah, that he can
That
only because
that,
it's his favorite animal or whatever. Yeah.
I did not realize he was limited to the tiger within the show. I thought the people who made the show made the decision to just like keep spamming tiger and hoping no one would notice. Like I didn't realize it was something that was addressed within the story. But no, like, and again, like there's all this like shit stuff. But like Dick fighting all the goons in that warehouse, that was kind of
Didn't look
fun.
bad. All the sound effects lined up. There were no weird. We got that one weird shot of his butt, which I'll give a pass because it is Dick Grayson and that's one of his defining assets. But
that's
like
that, why you're Nightwing.
Of course,
you're a Green Lantern, but you're also a Nightwing.
That sequence, that very brief him going down the thing, hitting people, having fun, is the only good thing I got out of this episode. I felt like I was watching Dick Grayson fight off some goons, and it didn't look like shit. And I was like, okay, this doesn't look bad. Granted, this was coming off the heels of that first Tim Drake scene, I believe, which it's really bad. It was really fucking bad. I'll get to that in a minute. But also, I want to point out, in that same sequence, go back and watch Starfire fighting the last couple goons.
Yeah.
All of her punches and kicks are a literal 1.5 feet away from everybody.
Good.
And it's not like she punches to put to shoot fire out. She punches, there's a sound effect, they fall. Her fist is clearly this far from their face. It's awesome. I don't dislike this Tim Drake.
Nor do I. Like the vibe we get from him, like in the brief minute, like Tim himself. And it's something I've also started to like realize about this show for me is that a lot of the time they'll be like, here's this isolated thing I like surrounded by shit. But as you were saying,
it's not his fault.
Yes.
His dialogue at best so far, right? I've only seen him in the police officer encounter and with his family, right?
He has not come back in the following 2 episodes yet, by the way.
That's good. That makes me happy. Not even doing a bit. That genuinely makes me happy. And it kind of set the tone for the entire episode. When the officer goes, get home, it's not safe or whatever, like these streets aren't safe, drives off, and there's a beat of him stepping up to center stage, looking stage left, off into the distance and going, not when Batman and Robin are on the streets. Who greenlit that? Who said, this is what I want our show to be? Who was like...
Because it's superhero trash. Watch an episode of You on Netflix and it sounds exactly the same. It sounds exactly the same and just as dumb. Like, it is... These are one of those shows where it goes, you guys are going to be like... This show, more than other trash TV, gets the excuse of being ridiculous because it's based off a comic book, so shit's gonna get weird no matter what.
But it's the basic construction of the show where in the writing room, they wanted this line so bad, they wanted this conversation to happen, and it happens multiple times. They just couldn't find a way to construct it in a way where they're talking to another person. The Beast Boy scene when he's watching the very badly cut documentary, I might add, where it's just random shots of animals, like stock videos of animals. Like it's not even a documentary.
It's like that one. Have you ever seen the clip of the one Disney movie where they like had the girl on her phone, but they had they had like a video for her to play to make it look like she's on her phone, but they have her press play on the video in the movie and then pretend to scroll Facebook, but you watch her like push the button. That's like, I'm waiting for that to happen in Titans.
Like that whole conversation he has with himself, like that back and forth he has, could be a moment he's connecting with another character.
Yeah,
could be a moment he's having just
that he's talking to Raven.
Because we've written her off, because we don't know what to do with them, because to involve them in the plot means they're probably going to have to fight. And if they have to fight, we have to animate their powers. And oh God, we have to animate that goddamn tiger again. Yeah, so that Dick, as someone who talks to themselves regularly, when you're doing menial tasks, the like very low, oh yeah, I guess that goes there, right? Like I do it at work, where I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this goes here, and okay, I'll fit 2 more here, right? It's low, it's to myself. Sometimes it doesn't make it out loud, right? And I think that's fairly normal. Yeah. And if not, then cool, I need to be on medication.
You're not out loud having a full-blown conversation while you're watching TV.
Dick is narrating everything he does. Dick, when he's looking through Jason's room, is narrating everything he picks up, everything he opens, everything he looks at. And it's off-putting in the way that I'm like, he shouldn't be... This is one of those weird things where like they tried to literally adapt a comic book, I think. Where like in a comic book, Dick would have picked up the chemistry textbook and like there would have been a speech bubble that said, why was Jason studying chemistry? He doesn't read or something. Like we would have gotten that in a speech bubble.
And you can skip him having a conversation with himself. Also, I thought you were still talking about Beast Boy, like talking out loud for a second.
Same thing, but you're right. No, that could be.
Skip that because he has the same conversation with Bruce and Barbara. Because he still goes up to them and goes, why the hell did Jason have a chemistry book? I don't know. What are you talking about? The kid didn't even read the back of a cereal box. Why is he studying chemistry? Like, he has that conversation with them. Like, you can literally have him walk up to the book, have a quick, what the hell is this? And then move on to the next scene where he makes the cereal box joke. And he's commenting on this shit to Barbara and Bruce. Like, it's redundant and bad.
They're too afraid to have silent scenes with no dialogue. I think because they know people will fall asleep. I don't know. But I don't, like you said, he has the same conversation and like, it just happens. Oh, like he just keeps narrating. Also the scene with him in that warehouse. And I'm sure, I don't know if you read all of my tweets. I'm glad season 1 Dick is back. Uselessly violent Dick Grayson is back on the menu, boys. And on what, like, it makes me happy, but not in the way I want it to make me happy.
I will give it a pass with that one guy in the warehouse.
He broke his arm after the dude ran off. Like, this dude was going to run the fuck away, and then he went, oh, by the way.
I think the only, like, you get, like, the weird, like, you're dealing drugs, and I'm not going to let you give shit to kids. Like that was the vibe I got, where he was like, I'm only moving in because this is a competitive drug dealer, and like also he's like running like this is the Jason related issue, which we need to double back to talk about Jason and the Joker. But like that was one of those like, you can like subtext reasons into this that I can be okay
I shouldn't
with.
have to.
You shouldn't have to necessarily.
This should not be the precedent.
I can understand how we arrive here.
But here's the thing. The problem with that is this is not out of the ordinary for this Dick Grayson.
That is also fair.
Him, like, because after that scene, I watched this with Lexi, and she's not watched any of the rest of Titans. I was like, yeah, in the first 2 episodes of Titans, Dick runs a guy's face over a brick wall, runs a guy's face over glass, definitely shoots a couple people, stabs a guy in the balls, definitely kills at least 2 other people, breaks a person's neck. Like, dude leaves a body trail.
Yeah.
Behind him. And if they're not literally dead, they will never walk, speak, love, eat, breathe again kind of deal.
Yeah.
Which is why then when I see this and I'm like, okay, so he was less violent in season 2, but also then I remember there was less fighting in season 2. So maybe
this would have been just happening. How Dick fights. Yeah.
Dick does flips and breaks your neck.
Dick does be doing flips. With Jason, I understand that this show.
Does the suit look better in motion? I've seen other shots of the suit, and I think it.
Okay, first of all, no, it looks like shit. I do not like this Red Hood look. This is why I don't. This is part of why I don't like it. I'm standing up and I'm taking my headphones off for a minute. It is the most ungainly shit ever. He's walking around, and like, I don't mean this as an insult to like members of the 501st or whatever. He's walking around in that like, I'm not used to wearing stormtrooper armor type way. You can like at a convention, like sometimes you can tell who's a new member of the 501st because they do not look comfortable in their armor because they're just kind of like all boxy and kind of walking around like this. Sorry to the audio listeners. So like when you first actually get to meet Red Hood, and I pretend Sting is like his machine gun, he's just like doing one of these. Like he is just so stocky and boxy and like looking with his whole body. I can't like the way he's firing this shit. It doesn't look like I don't understand like how the suit works. Like I understand that Red Hood is going to be and always will be one of those characters that is super hard to bring into live action because his suit looks cool as hell, but like there's a lot of design elements that you got to climb the hump of, right? But by the same token, we have a nearly perfect armored Batman with Robert Pattinson. There's no reason why you can't do that streamlined look for Red Hood. Streamlined look, rather.
On that same
chunky.
topic,
he just looks like weird, like just like the suit.
That's good. That makes
me happy. He just moves super weird in it.
It's funny because
there's a fight
both
in episode 2 where like it looks good. Like it looks good when he's fighting. Is the only like not necessarily like it looks good in motion, like when he's walking, but like when he's getting hit or hitting somebody and it's just fisticuffs. I think
the stunt double looks great, is what you're saying.
The suit looks weird. I think they're using a slightly modified suit for the stunts.
I'll have to wait and see what I.
And maybe again, maybe it's just because they're moving too quickly, and all I can see is the black and blue of Nightwing and like the red, black, and blue of Red Hood, or red, black, and brown of Red Hood, and like my brain is just like able to process what I'm looking at and like forgetting that the suit kind of looks like trash. It's mostly the helmet. But there's just something in the way that the top part's designed that Jason just does this robot shit when he moves.
On that similar vein, Starfire Suit, which we both have commented looked really cool in the concept art, looks like it was bought at Party City.
Yeah.
None of the like detailing on it in some shots, it looks like it's just flat.
Yeah.
Like that detailing
There's like
of
no
like,
texturing on it at all.
yeah, like where the gold should be like kind of popping a little bit and coming out of the suit and like it's made of something. Nope, none of that. Also, where'd she get it from? I don't remember.
You never get a happy answer whenever you ask those kinds of questions.
That's true. I'm willing to give that a pass because I don't remember her getting it in season 2 or like it being a thing. Oh, of course not, because they would have showed it. I don't know. I'm giving that a pass only because like
Heroes
it has
get their
been 3
costume
months.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe it was on her ship she didn't know. Maybe it was stuffed. Maybe it was in Jason's body, and when he died, they like unzipped his body, and she pulled the suit out of it and zipped it back up, and then sent it back to the Gotham morgue.
Or there's like a bullshit kind of like it was a gift from Wayne Enterprises. You know, we're like
Not from
Bruce
this.
had something made. That's fair. Okay, we got two things I really want to talk about before we talk about episodes 2 and 3 a little bit. I get that this show can't necessarily do a proper death in the family. Quite frankly, it shouldn't be at all because that's a Batman story. But I really I understand that the casting of some of these characters is always going to be like a cultural moment. And sometimes as a writer and as a showrunner and as a whatever, you don't want the pressure of having to live in the pantheon of adaptations of certain characters, especially the Joker, because it is a topic that is so hotly debated with so many weird and complex opinions around opinions on who the best Joker is, who writes Joker the best, da-da-da-da-da. I get that. You can do better than just him laughing. Like, I'm like, I get not wanting to straight up cast a Joker. I get it. But if you're going to commit to trying to do a death in the family, you have to. Like, just so you have more than just like, it's not the Joker. That's like a bullshit creepy clown for Halloween. Like, he's just laughing. He has, like, you're not giving him any personality beyond laughter. Like, if you're gonna do the Joker, you need to address some of like the complexities that are the Joker, and like that he's like that he's this monster, and that like who he is, that he's evil and cunning, and he's all these things that go beyond giggling while hurting somebody. You know what I mean? Like, the Joker is simply put a monster, but to just characterize him as he giggles while he hurts people. You know what I mean? Like, that was
Don't we all?
A little bit. That just really took me out of it. That was really bad. And okay,
Before we get into, so I would like to request we don't talk about episodes 2 and 3 today
that is okay.
for 2 reasons. One, I haven't seen them. I don't feel like I can contribute really to that conversation yet in the way that I'd like to. 2, your boy has to use the bathroom, and not in a way where I can dip for a minute. So instead, what I'd like to end on, should it please the court, is how this is the worst writing for a Bruce Wayne Batman in the history of anything. What we are seeing on screen is not Bruce Wayne. In no way, shape, or form. To me, that is not Bruce Wayne on the screen. And it has nothing to do with the actor. You are doing the best with the dog shit they have handed you.
Ian Glenn.
I didn't want to say, I thought it was Ian Glenn. I didn't want to say the name and be like, you be like, no, that's not his name.
Yeah, Jordan Mormont. Not a, acting wise, not a bad Batman. Not a bad Bruce.
if this was Batman Beyond,
My thoughts exactly. He'd be a phenomenal old
I'd be
man
in.
Bruce. I will say this show's really weird attempt at doing the Batman's just as bad as the Joker. Batman is just as crazy. This isn't about helping people. This is about him and his weird little revenge fantasies. Interesting.
The point of those takes normally, to me, is to prove them wrong. Like when people have that opinion of the Batman in a story, either it's somebody misinterpreting Batman, or the point is to show why that isn't correct. And because this isn't a Batman show, we don't get that opportunity. So instead, we get this Bruce Wayne that is doing so, like, nothing he does is characteristically Bruce Wayne. He is not keeping tabs on Jason when he leaves the manor, isn't keeping tabs on his free time, isn't trying to bond with Jason. When Jason dies, he has this lineup list of other kids to bring on. The point of Jason, the point of Jason dying, like, Bruce doesn't take on another ward for years, and he only takes on Tim because Tim forces him to. Like, their whole point of him not taking this loss at all, like, it doesn't fit, because it's a war, and the people die in wars, and blah, blah, blah. That isn't Batman. Like,
at least not in this stage of his career, it shouldn't be Batman. Or if you're going to do Batman like that, the point is showing Batman growing beyond that. Exactly. Or being proven wrong. That like, yes, that is Bruce's stance. And someone comes around and goes, no, shut up, you're wrong. And someone shoving that back in his face. And instead we get Bruce going crazy and I think killing the Joker.
That's because that was the moment of I didn't know, like,
screen breaking into Arkham to do it.
When Dick and Bruce get into their first verbal argument, after the scene with Barbara,
I did like that line where Dick is like, "I'm glad the cops got to him first," and Bruce is just like, "Yeah, I am too." Like that was like a brief moment. That was good. Of the cold, like, just under the surface berserker rage that Batman has.
Yeah.
Of like, yeah, it's a good thing they got to him first because he wouldn't have gotten out with me. Like, that was like, that's Batman. That's batshit crazy Batman right there. And I liked that.
It's the weird, like, when him and Dick are having their big argument before he goes and does that. It's the fact that Dick is able to put Bruce on the back foot in that argument. Yeah. And Bruce is like, I didn't know. I didn't, like, the show does genuinely believe that Robin, definitely correct, Jason dying is Bruce's fault. When that's not the case. At least not in the way they're trying to imply it. Like, they're trying to remove blame from Jason. Because if you follow the logic of the episode, it's everyone else is saying Jason was an idiot who got himself killed. And that sucks. And we're upset. But that's the case. And then slowly it becomes, no, actually, he was abused by Bruce into believing he could do this. Therefore, it's Bruce Wayne's fault that I almost just said Dick Grayson. Jason Todd is dead. That for all intents and purposes, Bruce Wayne murdered Jason Todd in some capacity. Which, sure, you can apply some blame to Bruce in this situation. I guess the thing that upsets me is watching the show think that Bruce Wayne would not bear that responsibility like a cross. That, like,
that
Bruce
Bruce would not
Wayne-
have the opinion that Bruce Wayne got Jason Todd.
Yeah, that he the whole time isn't like someone at some point could have said that, like if Barbara would have said that to him or Dick would have said that to him, he would have snapped and been like, I know what I did. You don't have to, you don't have to tell me.
Yeah.
In that same like, I'm glad the cops got to him first, so am I kind of thing of like, we both know what I have considered doing in the last however many days since this happened. I like do not need this kind of deal.
Also, it was just so weird to like, would you like to be Robin again?
Yeah, that's the shit. That's what I mean. This has to be
None of that. It just felt so weird. I didn't like it at all. Like
that. Like
at
I
that point,
can't.
we're almost getting into that
Robin
weird,
again.
like,
I can't do this alone.
territory. We're almost getting into that weird territory. Like you're verging on Batman gets a sexual kick out of doing this type interpretation with like the way he's like, will you be Robin again? It's like, okay, we need to bring this back down. Like again, like we need to back down on this. Because again, like I liked a lot of these scenes and I was like, wow, this feels like a middle schooler who's like ahead of their peers with understanding these types of stories. You know what I mean? Where it's like you recognize that there's complexity to this. You just aren't capable of conveying that complexity very well quite yet. But you're close and you get that it's there. That is the vibe I got from all of the conversation for the conversation, like the powwow between Dick, Bruce, and Barb. I love that scene. Like, and what'd you say to him? Watch your language. Like that was just it was funny. It was cute.
And that scene to me was a very that nonsense on Kate in the Morning, it doesn't count kind of deal. We're hearing about this moment that would have been we're hearing about a gag they wrote to be an actual scene, and then they realized they're never going to have Batman on screen, so they just went, well, we'll just have them tell the story because we thought this was funny.
I know, I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like maybe it's because the prequels poisoned my brain, but like I enjoy shit like that business on Cato Nemoidia doesn't count type conversations where it's like you just get to hear like the passing war stories, like that kind of thing. It entertains me.
And DC thrives on that too. Like DC prefers having that in the bank because they kind of in the opposite of Star Wars. They're building their lore based on things you already know. So if they're like, oh yeah, like that time X thing happened, and you're like, oh, that story's happened then. Right?
Yeah.
Like you reference the Long Halloween, and you're like, oh, okay, so Long Halloween's happened. We have a Two-Face, and we have blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, hated this. I really hated this.
I didn't hate it, but this is thoroughly in trash that I enjoyed semi-ironically. Like there's so many caveats that I have to put on top of saying that I liked it. You know what I mean? Like it's very much it's trash, but it's my trash. But I don't like it enough to claim it as my trash. It's just trash I will look at. Episodes 2 and 3 are fucking crazy.
That's good.
Like, you're not ready.
I'm sure I'm not, and I'm sure that these timeline of events will not make any sense.
Episode 3, I will say, got a reaction of legitimate shock. Not in a like, wow, this is bad. I really, really thought the show was going to do some cop-out bullshit for a situation to put itself in. And not only does it commit to that situation, it lets its consequences play out accordingly. And I was stunned. And I feel like I've said too much to you going into it, but I also know you don't give a shit about spoilers necessarily.
Interesting.
Like, it got me. Like, I audibly went, "Oh my god!" Like,
I have an idea of what that can mean, but I'm not going to say it yet.
Okay.
I'll let you know if I was right.
Any hoozles, Travis, where can the lovely people find you so you can
On Twitter,
Studio.
eating Cheetos with chopsticks at Travis Political.
Yes, they can. That I can't say that there are many other tweets that deserve to be a hit tweet more than that one. I'm gonna bump you so you can get on with your day.
Thank you. Everyone have a good day. Follow us all at all the places. Follow Jared at all the places. Have fun doing the outro.
Bye bye. Oh man, this show's been a hell of a time. But you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. And you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon page. Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus, Feige's Boomer Burner. Still not used to saying his name like that. The Waffle Wizard, Delta 9, Zach Knaus, and Jared the Light Sith. Thank you all so very much for your patronage. Thank you to our sure to consider the $5 tier. You get access to the Knights of the Nerd Republic Versus series, Heroic History 101, and the TNAP Movie Club audio commentaries. Also, click on the student store link if you'd like to get any types of Nerd Academy merch and goodies. Student store takes you right to our TeePublic, so you can take a look at that. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, rate the podcast, do all the things. Thank you all so very much for listening, and class dismissed.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar.